Okay, let's talk a bit about oh yeah, I want to say something more about Roz Mystic's his background in comparative religions, because I think I want to talk about some of that stuff too. I've had lots of religious endeavors, and not that I tried to practice a bunch of religions, I just tried to study a bunch of them. I took a really good comparative religions class at junior college. And the thing that got me the most about that class were the people in it that just couldn't handle it. Like, they just couldn't fucking handle it. And I'm not talking about like someone being preached to about shit that's not anything they believe in. I'm talking about people just listening to a concept that's not theirs. I have never seen such strong reactions to shit in my life. Like, you know, devout Christian people we're talking about, like having to listen to the precepts of Buddhism. They were freaking the fuck out. They couldn't handle it. Dropping out of the class, freaking the fuck out. They couldn't take it. And some of the people were like condemning the teacher, saying, you know, you were going to hell for this. And the guy, and, you know, his response was always good too. He'd be like, you know, it's awfully presumptuous of you to be able to determine my eternal destination. And it turns out the guy was a it turns out the teacher of the class was a Christian minister. You know, how about that? Like, that was just the most badass thing about the whole experience too, finding that out. We went on a field trip to a Hindu temple. Wow, is that interesting. First of all, just the design of the building, like, it almost looks like the whole thing's carved out of porcelain. And I don't know if you've seen what those temples look like, but they're very ornate, like ridiculously so. Like, really, like imagine, you know, like Ionic and Corinthian pillars. You know how like the curvy stuff that's on it? Like, that shit is all over those buildings, like all the way around, all the way up to the tops. And it looks like the top of the building is just one piece. It almost looks like it's carved out of one piece of material. It's amazing. But anyway, we went out there, and you go in there, you take your shoes off, and you walk around in your socks around this whole place. And they've got different rooms with different god statues in there, and there's people like giving little tokens of appreciation to the gods. I guess they're like offerings. Like, there's plates, and there's like places where you can buy like fruit and shit, and you give them to the gods. And pretty interesting. Anyway, this dude offered to take us through like a tour guide, and it was so crazy. Like, because there's people like sitting there like worshiping their gods and stuff, and he was telling us about how Hinduism's like more of a philosophy than a religion. Like, there is no like catechism of Hinduism, is what he was telling us. And it was so surreal for this guy to tell us this shit straight out, like a bunch of strangers, when like all these people are like in there worshiping their gods, right? He's telling us, he's like, well, you see, you have different levels of this religion. He's like, you don't he's like, all this stuff with the temple and the idols and stuff, that's all for like the low level people. It's for all the white belts. He's like, it's like, you know, you don't, you know, if you're practicing Hinduist, you don't even need to come to the temples. You can just sit at home and meditate. And he's telling us this shit, like, with all these people, like, practicing this religion. He's basically telling them that they're all a bunch of newbies. I was blown away by that shit. That was something else.